Hi, I'm Tricia Bear from the Culinary Command Post, and today I'm going to show you how to make strawberry lasagna, which is basically layered like lasagna, but it's a sweet dessert with strawberries in it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use 3 cups of vanilla wafers crushed up in your food processor, and then we melted a half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick of regular butter, and then I also put in about a cup of pecans in the crust. You don't have to, but I like to put pecans in my crust. So I'm going to mix them up. Mix the pecans with the the vanilla wafers crust. You can use graham crackers if you like, but I use the vanilla wafers today. Once you mix the pecans up with the vanilla wafers, crushed vanilla wafers, then you're going to add in that 1 stick of butter, which is half a cup of melted butter. Once you get the butter mixed up in there, you're going to you can use a square pan to put it in. But I'm going to use these spring form pans because once they get set, once the strawberry lasagna is set in the refrigerator, then you can take off this ring and then cut it nice and evenly and see the layers better. So we're going to use our spring form pans, and I'm going to spray it lightly with this pan baking spray. Make sure you do the sides because we're going to layer it, so it's going to go up the sides. Okay, so I've sprayed the springform pans. I'm making sure my butter's mixed in with our vanilla wafers that are crushed, and also our pecans that I had chopped up. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to press the vanilla wafers and pecans and butter in the bottom of your pan. Okay, so we're going to put part of it in this pan, the larger pan, and then we're going to use a smaller pan for the extra. This one. Okay, so you're just going to press it on the bottom so it's level on the bottom of the springform pan, and we're using vanilla wafers, but like I said, you can use crushed graham crackers if you like. And I'm using about 3 cups of vanilla wafers. You can use less than that, but I like a thicker crust on the bottom. So that's why we're going to use 3.5 cups of vanilla wafers. And you're going to press it down. This is a no-cook strawberry lasagna, so you don't have to cook anything. Alright, so we've got it pressed down evenly on the bottom of the pan. Now we're going to do the littler one. I like using these pans because it makes for a nicer presentation for your dessert or whatever you're cooking, so you can actually see the layers. It's a lot easier to cut as well. Okay, so both pans are layered with the vanilla wafers, butter, and pecans. Okay, so that's the first layer. So the second layer is going to be 8 ounces of cream cheese, softened cream cheese at room temperature. But I also use this strawberry cream cheese. It's called whipped strawberry cream cheese spread, and I use that instead of the cream cheese because I just feel like it has a better flavor and it's mixed up better. So we're going to mix that in our stand mixer. So we're going to put 8 ounces of cream cheese softened, or strawberry cream cheese, which is what we're using. We're going to put that in our stand mixer. The catch to that is just make sure it's at room temperature and it's soft, because otherwise it'll be lumpy if you don't. So I've had this set out for about an hour at room temperature. Alright, and then we're going to also add to this, you don't have to add this, but I'm going to add this to ours because it does give it a better strawberry flavor. And this is that Marzetti glaze for strawberries that you can get at Walmart. So I'm going to add that in as well. And I'm using about 1/4 of the container on that, on this recipe. Okay, and then we're going to add in 1/2 cup of regular sour cream. Okay, so 1/2 cup of sour cream, and then we're going to use 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then 1 cup of whipped topping. I'm going to go ahead, and I've already sifted the powdered sugar, so if you're ever using powdered sugar, chocolate, or flour, always sift it, otherwise it'll be clumpy if you don't. So we're going to add in our 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then we're going to add in our 1 cup of whipped topping. And that's going to be our first layer that's going to go on top of our vanilla wafer crust. Okay. Alright, so we're going to mix it up lightly, just until it's combined. Okay, you want to stop it halfway in the middle level after a couple minutes to scrape down the sides of your bowls with a spatula to get all that powdered sugar mixed in. Alright, just mix it a couple more minutes. Okay, so that's going to be our strawberry layer. And we're going to add that on top of our vanilla wafer crust. Okay, so our next layer, after we put this strawberry layer on, we're going to need to boil some water. So I'm going to go ahead and boil the water while I'm putting on the second layer, because that's what's the 2 boxes of strawberries going to need to be mixed into. just 2 cups of water we have boiling on the stove while we're putting on our strawberry layer. It can be boiling because that's our next layer. And our next layer is when we're going to actually add the strawberries to the gelatin and also the whipped cream. Like that. Okay, so we're just going to spread it out evenly on top of the vanilla wafer crust and pecans and butter. Alright, now we're going to do our smaller pan, springform pan. I'm going to use a spatula to make it easier. As soon as the water on the stove gets to boiling, then we're going to add in our 2 boxes of strawberry gelatin. And our Cool Whip and our strawberries. Water's almost boiling. Okay. We're going to bring our pan over here on the table with the boiling water. And then we're going to add in our 2 boxes of strawberry gelatin. That's one box and then 2 boxes. Alright, we're just going to mix the gelatin in with the boiling water. And then we're going to add in our 1 cup of heavy cream. One cup of heavy cream, and then 1 cup of Cool Whip, and then two cups of sliced strawberries. Two cups of sliced strawberries, and that's going to be our 3rd layer. So you got your vanilla wafer crust, and then you got your cream cheese, strawberry cream cheese layer, and then this is the strawberry gelatin layer with the heavy cream and the Cool Whip and the strawberries and strawberry gelatin. Now, once we get the strawberry gelatin layer put on, we're going to let it chill for a couple hours. And then once it chills, then we're going to put it on our fresh strawberries, our pecans, and then our Cool Whip topping. We'll do our Cool Whip topping first and then sprinkle on some strawberries and some pecans. Alright, so that's the next step. So I'm going to pour it into our springform pans. I'm just going to spread it around a little bit so that the strawberries get spread to all parts of that layer. Sometimes they sit in the center, and you can add more strawberries if you want, whatever you like. I'm just going to add a few more strawberries. Now, if your springform pan doesn't have a tight fit on the pan, you might want to put some aluminum foil under it until it chills so it doesn't leak in your refrigerator. what I'm going to do on this one because it's got a little, not as tight a seal as that one. So I'm gonna boil. I think I'll use this. And you're just going to set it in your refrigerator for maybe 2.5 to 3 hours until it gets solid. And then we'll add our Cool Whip and our pecans on top with fresh strawberries. Pull that out for a second. And that's how you make a strawberry lasagna. So we're going to wait a couple hours and let it solidify in the fridge and chill, and then we'll add our toppings to it. Okay, so now that our strawberry lasagna has chilled in the refrigerator a couple hours, now we're going to add our Cool Whip and our fresh strawberries that's been chopped up, and then our pecans on top. We're going to add our Cool Whip, which is about 1 cup per container. Let me get some more here. Got some more. This one right here is extra creamy, so it's more of a yellow color, and this one's more of a white. Kind of mix them. Spread out your topping, and then we're going to put some strawberries on top and nuts on top of that. So this is where you got your vanilla wafer layer that we crushed up with pecans. And then the second layer has strawberry cream cheese and powdered sugar. And then your third layer has the strawberry gelatin with water and also Cool Whip added. And fresh strawberries. This one is sing it. Alright, so we got all of our strawberry layer covered with whipped cream. I'm just going to make sure it's even. Alright, that's one of them. Now we're going to do this one real fast. And then we're going to stick it back in the fridge and let it chill a little longer so that when we take the ring off, it's going to be more solidified and it's going to stay together. Alright, so that's about a cup of Cool Whip per each pan. Alright, now I'm going to add some strawberries and then we're going to put on our pecans and put it back in the fridge. Now if you weren't using a spring form pan, it would be ready to serve if you wanted it to, but we're using the spring foam pan today to show you how it looks better. And then we're going to add some fresh chopped strawberries. Sprinkle it on top. And we already have strawberries inside of our strawberry gelatin too, so over here. Just lightly going over the top to smash the strawberries down in there. Alright, I'm gonna put some on that one. Alright, now we're going to sprinkle pecans on it and put it back in the refrigerator a little bit longer while we're working on our other dish. Yep. Alrighty, so now we're going to put our pecans on top, and then we're going to put the strawberry lasagna back in the fridge just to chill a little bit longer until we get ready to remove the foam pan to it. And I've already crushed the pecans on top. There's that one. One more handful. Okay, that's it on the strawberry lasagna. We're going to put it back in the fridge and let it chill for about 30 minutes, and then we'll be ready to remove the spring form part of it, of the pan. Hi, I'm Tricia Bear from the Culinary Command Post, and today I'm going to show you how to make strawberry lasagna, which is basically layered like lasagna, but it's a sweet dessert with strawberry.